Hello, welcome to the Health In Show, an affiliate program of Homeopathy World Community. You've come to the right place to tune in and participate with your comments and questions. Love is the greatest healer of all, but sometimes, in order to change our emotions, we must take action in other spheres of our lives. We speak with experts in alternative and complementary health fields and hope you will benefit in some small or great way. Remember, you are wherever your thoughts are. Make sure your thoughts are where you want to be.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Health In Show. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and I am the CEO of Homeopathy World Community. And we have a fabulous show in store for you today. I just want to, before I introduce everyone, just want to welcome everyone into the chat and let you know we're so happy you're there. Please feel free to ask questions, comment, whatever you like. We'd love to have you do that. This is an open invitation. You can also call into the studio at 919-518-9773. And you can come in on Skype voice if you would like to comment and participate as well. And that would be at computers and then the number 2K voice. And we'd love to have you there as well. Today is a special day. I mean, I love the idea of what we have going on today as far as our guests. It's going to be wonderful. But also because this is the second anniversary of Debbie Bruck's passing. And what can I say about her? We're going to talk more about her later on in the show, but she is in my heart always, and so fitting for her opening today about talking about emotion, because that's exactly one of the things we're going to be talking about. So I'm happy you're here. It's going to be a great show. Let me introduce to you today our other hosts, Deepak Sharma, Dr. Sharma. Welcome, Deepak. How are you today?
Thank you, Marilyn. Yeah, thank you. And thank you so much. Yes, this is the second anniversary Debbie passed. And Debbie Bruck was like a mom. And I always call Debbie Mamaji. I always called Debbie Mamaji. And she was the lady beyond the imagination. We have no words for her. And we are really missing to very badly. We have very very emotions for her. And Debbie started the Health in blog talk radio shows, and the Health in shows is the best one. And this is our responsibility to continue the show to spread homeopathy worldwide into the general people, because Debbie Mama's dream was to spread homeopathy in the general people who does not know about the homeopathy. That's why she created the whole homeopathic world community to connect every homeopath to spread the homeopathy through this platform. So Health In was one of the video shows, which is the basic unique quality of the homeopathic world community. And this is really our pleasure that we are continuing with the show. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you so much that you are doing wonderful job in the homeopathic world community, and we will really continue these shows till we are not ending. So, this is our responsibility to maintain decorum of the homeopathic world community and our shows. So thank you. And Debbie Mamaji, I really missed you.
Well, that makes a lot of us,
Yes.
me included. I loved her dearly, and she is always in my heart. And she loved you, Deepak, and you were by her side all the time. So thank you for
Yes.
that.
Actually, she loved everyone.
Yeah,
She
she
loved
did.
Dr. Rajni, she loved Dr. Kavita, she loved Dr. Hira, she loved everyone. She connected to whole the world, and every homeopath know her very well. There is no country noted that there is no name of Debbie Black was there. So Debbie knows everyone, and every homeopath knows Debbie very well. So this is our responsibility to spread homeopathic world community. With
Absolutely.
that.
So thank you for all that. But everybody stay here. Later on, we're going to talk some more. Maybe you'll call in with some of your memories and some of the things that Debbie taught us all. So thank you so much. So, Dr. Preety Shah, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you, Marilyn.
And this is one lovely lady who I have grown to just adore. So I'm so happy you came here today. So tell everybody about, something about you, and then why don't you move on and you introduce our guest, because he's very special to you.
Yes. Hi everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Dr. Preety Shah, and I reside in Mumbai, India. And while I did not have the opportunity to know Debbie personally, I know her through all the living souls out here. I know her through Marilyn, through Deepak, through Kavita, and through all of y'all who are keeping her spirit alive. Uh, I would like to, without further ado, introduce our very, very special guest today, Dr. Mahesh Gandhi. He is my teacher, my mentor, and a role model for me and a lot of homeopaths and psychiatric students across the globe. So, Dr. Mahesh Gandhi is a MD psychiatrist and a homeopath. He was heading the Department of Psychiatry in a prestigious college in Mumbai, and he left that to pursue his interest in homeopathy. He comes with over 40 years of experience under his belt, and he is teaching homeopathy. He has path-breaking concept called as personal evolution model. Uh, he runs psychiatric modules and training programs for homeopaths called as Fellowship in Homeopathic Psychiatry and Counseling. And he travels around the world to, teach homeopathy. So that's about him, and I'm so looking forward to listen to him and learn from him today.
So I know that you have prepared a few questions. Preety, you have some questions with you, right? That you want to start off asking Dr. Gandhi, right?
Um, so I think the first thing maybe we could ask Dr. Gandhi, and before we go into the questions, I don't know, Dr. Gandhi, would you like to start with a few words, especially about mental health and the current circumstances that we are in?
I think the better option that Dr. Gandhi sir will start with the general topic, and then we will ask the questions in the later stage. So we need to listen him.
Welcome everybody. It's my great pleasure to be part of this program. And Preety just told me a few days back, and I was more than willing to come here. And I think there can be no better topic for today than what we have today about how the present circumstances, the things we are going through, very unusual circumstances, and how it affects our mental health. So I think it is really important. And the first thing that comes in my mind is that we all are somewhere in a small extent or a large extent having anxiety. So anxiety is one of the main things that we are experiencing today. So what is anxiety? It is an unpleasant state of arousal. We are all anticipating some unpleasant event. We don't know what future is lies for us, and it is making us uncertain, and it is making us anxious. So this is something which I think is the main problem which we are facing today. We can call it stress, we can call it fear. Anxiety is generally, when we use the word anxiety, we use this word when there is a fear of the unknown. We just have, and we respond with some vague sense of danger. We don't know what it is. Whereas fear is something when we can describe exactly what we are afraid of. So you can call it anxiety or you can call it fear. Both are the same because both experience a serious threat to one's well-being. Today we are all afraid what can happen to us. Sometimes this anxiety can be, this threat could be actual, it could be potential, or it could be also imaginary. But we are all given a thought, what can happen to us? This is something which we are all going through today. Now, anxiety is not necessarily abnormal. It can be part of it, does not have to be a part of any illness. Anxiety is normal in stressful situations, and we are all anxious. And it is okay because anxiety serves a purpose. It motivates us. It makes us take action. It is a sign of life and experience. If there was no anxiety, it would be impossible. So this is and both anxiety or you call it fear have some physiological characteristics. What we call as, we all know about this protective flight or flight response. Either we want to fight the situation or we want to run away or escape. Now, when we cannot fight a situation like how it is right now, or when we cannot run away from this situation, both options are not possible for us, then our body reacts sometimes in a very exaggerated and a prolonged manner. And that because we are now reacting out of proportion. There is anxiety, but I think a lot of us are reacting a lot out of proportion, in whether it is intensity or duration. Also, what happens is if anxiety is pathological, then it may affect our ability to function well. So when something like this happens, then we have to address it. So I think right now what we are going through, all of us, is stress, anxiety, panic, fear. This is what I would like to say. So would like to ask any questions? Just to begin with, I could introduce it like this.
Before you do that, I just want to make one comment that is very, I think,
Yes,
interesting.
Preety, you have any questions?
Yeah, that pretty much everybody right now cannot escape not feeling some anxiety. I mean, it may be different degrees in what you do, but everyone is going to be experiencing this. So this is a very important topic for us all. Go ahead, Preety, you have a question?
So, are there different expressions of anxiety? I mean, everybody is stressed. We are all in the same situation, but are there different expressions of this anxiety?
So now we are coming to what we call as anxiety disorders. These are the disorders where anxiety is the main symptom. So there are many expressions. One is panic disorder. And along with panic comes agoraphobia, where a person is afraid to leave his house and go out. We can talk a little bit later, a little more about this, but let me enumerate here disorder, where the person is constantly worrying, all the time worrying. And this worrying is uncontrollable. And it is also sometimes irrational, out of proportional to what the situation might be. Then there can be phobias. I think nowadays we also see a lot of phobias, like fear of catching a disease, catching some infection, and we can become very scared and phobic about it. Another expression is obsessive compulsive neurosis or disorder. So here, a person starts getting thoughts or maybe impulses against his will. He doesn't want it, but it goes on intruding into his consciousness. Some thoughts, what if something happens to my family? What something goes wrong? And then the person knows they are irrational, but he is not able to control it. And the person tries to suppress it, and he almost fights with it. And then he starts doing compulsive actions. Now, in this situation, I believe many of us might be washing hands, but it can become an obsessive trait where we wash too much. Anxiety is one of the basic symptoms of the mind. And when there is anxiety, all our core traits, our own personality traits come to the forefront. Then they all get exaggerated. So when there is anxiety, All our fears. If I'm anxious about my near and dear ones, then that anxiety becomes exaggerated. If I'm a person who's worrying about my finances, then that anxiety gets exaggerated. So this is the time where all our own personal agenda comes to the forefront, because we are a little bit sort of not so compensated, decompensated, you can say. The other anxiety disorders are called acute stress disorder or post-traumatic stress disorders. But this may not be so relevant in our present times. But panic is very important. I got quite a few patients who are calling me with panic. So what is panic? We have to remember some few key words about panic. One is, panic is then a danger. I told you that in anxiety, one of the main feeling is anticipation of danger. There is a serious threat to one's well-being. So when the danger is imminent, when I say imminent, what does it mean? It is close at hand. It can happen anytime. It is unavoidable, which means I cannot run. So when it is imminent, overwhelming, and unavoidable, then sometimes we can experience severe anxiety. In fact, I would not even call it anxiety. I would say extreme fear or terror. It is like there is a sense of impending doom. A person feels that he may not survive, he may not live. And these episodes are recurrent. Autonomic responses like parasympathetic, sympathetic, all our body defenses come to the forefront. And generally in panic, there is no apparent reason. Now we have this reason for panic. So it is more like a fear. But very often in panic, there's a sudden onset without a warning, and the person doesn't know what to do. So then they can experience a lot of symptoms like palpitations, trembling, pain in the chest, shortness of breath. Then there can be faintness, numbness, tingling sensations. Sometimes they can also experience what we call as depersonalization, which means he cannot recognize himself. We know one of these rubrics in our materia medica, that you cannot recognize yourself in the mirror when you look at yourself. That is because the whole ego structure breaks down. Even the whole environment in you live looks strange. And for that particular moment, it is like almost you are insane. You don't know what is happening and you are going to go crazy. So now what happens is, when there is such an acute anxiety and it goes on coming again and again, then the person starts getting anxiety in between these attacks. And that is called anticipatory anxiety. And then he feels so helpless that he begins to avoid situations. He will not go out wherever he may not get help. Like he may not go by flights, he may not go by tunnel, bridges. Now, these days, these questions are not there. But can you see what has happened in Corona because of this virus and the lockdown? We are feeling so helpless that we have begun to lock ourselves, avoid situations. So when this panic becomes too much, then person becomes greatly restricted. He becomes housebound. And that is the time we call it agoraphobia. And if it continues for a long time, and probably even us, now in this voluntary lockdown, if we continue it for a long time, then later on we can develop depressive symptoms, because other issues come up, other long-term issues come up, because now you have sense of loss of many things which you would otherwise be doing, which you would not do. The main theme of depression is loss. And then that loss, sometimes you may even lose your near and dear ones because of this coronavirus. So there are a lot of effects of it. But in my opinion, what is most important, even more than panic, is the generalized anxiety. And in this generalized anxiety, there is excessive worry. And I think many of us are suffering from this. Uncontrollable, irrational, excessive worry. All the time anticipating some unpleasantness which is going to happen in future. We are all anticipating danger. And then we are concerned about everyday matters. What if we don't get food? What if it becomes too much? It affects our daily functioning. And it is a very painful experience. And
Dr. Gandhi, can I ask you a question?
yeah,
Um, so all of everything you're saying, I mean, people are feeling these at different degrees. So not only so it's when this comes to whatever point it comes to, there'll be physical illnesses as well, because we know that we get physical illnesses from stress. The other thing, and I don't know if today is a good day for you to talk about it, or we need to have you come back again. But I also fear for what's going on with our teens and our young adults who have gone through so much already, and now they're facing this.
Yes. So teens, definitely. But there is also a little bit of, they have the vitality, also a belief that nothing is going to happen to us. I think this time, with this problem, I think it is the older people who are more worried. Younger people, the way it has been expressed. And sometimes there is also, teens have this quality of freedom, adventurism, idealism, positivity. These are the positive traits of this age. So what happens is sometimes they overlook. They might even become careless and also might show some risky behaviors which might be detrimental to their own well-being.
That made perfect sense. Thank you. And thank you. That was really good. That's always a concern that I have when because kids have gone through some school shootings and this and that, and now they have this, but you're right. They have this vitality and, so
Yes.
that's good. So I
So
just want to, go ahead.
Yeah, so they are not really potential. And you were talking about people getting physical illnesses, but there are also certain physical issues also because of anxiety, which people misunderstand. For example, because of this chronic anxiety, people can get muscular tensions. They can have aches, they can have pains, unable to relax, they can have trembling. This hyperactivity, autonomic hyperactivity, can give them palpitations. And sometimes they become very vigilant. Nowadays, people have become hyper attentive, almost sentry like, like policing themselves. Am I doing right? What is happening to me? And all the time looking out for danger. This is what we are experiencing nowadays. Yes, Preeti, any more questions? Yes, Deepak.
Yeah, so one thing that comes to me right now is while we are all we are facing the same situation globally, right? We are all under lockdown. The same coronavirus is there, but not every one of us is suffering from the same level of anxiety. I mean,
Hmm.
so I don't know how that works, and maybe you want to comment on that.
Okay. Okay. So as I told you, Preeti, this is a very valid point because this brings to my favorite topic too, but I'll just bring you to that topic. Now, anxiety takes the central position in our human body, if you want to call it the psychic apparatus. What does anxiety mean? In simple sense, anxiety means that your ego is under pressure. Now, what is ego? Ego means your sense of self, who I am. That is under pressure. And where does the pressure comes from? Sometimes the pressure comes from within our unconscious drives, urges, impulses. Sometimes it is because of the demands of the reality, which is from the outside. Sometimes the pressure comes from our conscience, which makes us guilty. So when there is pressure on our ego, then we experience anxiety. So ego is the one which keeps our inner life world and outer world in check. It keeps a balance. It is a border. It keeps both in check. So this is very important to know. So just like, all of us don't have the equal muscular strength. Somebody is more muscular, somebody is weak, somebody cannot lift something, somebody can lift a lot of weight. Similarly, we have different ego strength. Now, this is very important point. What is ego strength? How much individualized we are, how much differentiated we are, how much unique we are, how separate, sense of separateness, how aware we are, how conscious we are. Now, all this can be studied, especially in homeopathy, when we do our case, and especially by my method, which I am uh, proposing, is the personal evolution method. So, in this method, what we do is try to study how developed a person is, his ego development, and the more the development, the more the ego strength. And if your ego strength is more, then you have much more capacity to withstand pressure. Think about some prime minister of some country. He can take a lot more than somebody who's breaks down with trifles. So we all have different ego strengths. And this is that study which I use a lot in my homeopathic practice. So if you have a strong ego, it means that you are less prone to psychiatric disorders. And if you have a weak ego, now weak ego can be because of many reasons. Because Though I might be a grown up person, I might be 60 plus, but inside me, there can be an inner child. We are all not of the same age. Somebody can be very young, but be like an old man. Somebody can be an old man, but his inner age can be of a child. So if I'm an inner age of a child, then I'm little not so strong. My ego is not so strong. So my ego can be inherently weak. There can be some intrapsychic conflicts because of which all the time I'm in pressure. That makes my ego weak. There can be a lot of traumas which can make my ego weak. And what happens is, once the ego is weak, then we are not able to handle the grinds of our life, daily grinds, and we break down under pressure. So panic is what? Let's say if you have a boiling water and you put a lid on it, the pressure builds up, and one moment comes when the lid just blows up and hits the ceiling, and then it settles down. That is panic. And generalized anxiety disorder is where the steam goes on being released constantly, little by little. So our ego strength decides who gets this problem and who does not get. Everybody is not predisposed to anxiety or any other mental illness. It depends on how strong we are within. And this can be very well studied systematically in homeopathy, and it can be a great help in finding a simillimum for our patients.
Yes.
Does it answer your question?
Yes, Dr. Mahesh, you answered perfectly.
Hello.
And in this show, we are having. Yes, sir. Can you listen me? Do you hear me, sir?
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir. You answered the question very perfectly. I think his network is jammed. Do you hear me, sir?
Well, I can hear
Hello.
you. Yeah, you can be heard.
Hello. Yes. Okay.
Could you hear me?
Mahesh, sir. No, sir. Actually, your internet is, I think, unstable. So, do you hear me?
No, can you just let me see?
Yes, we are hearing a little bit, sir.
Can you hear me now? Could you hear my question or
Yes.
no?
Yes. You answer
Yes, we could
very
hear you.
perfectly. You answer very perfectly. But sir, here in this show, here are general peoples are there. They are always not the home base or
Yes.
the doctors are here. So what exactly quantity or
Deepak,
is
your,
specifically
Deepak, your
work for
internet,
this type of.
Deepak, your internet is going in and out too. Maybe you
Okay.
can write your question in the chat, because I know it's going to be a good one, but it's going in
Okay,
and
sure.
out.
But could you hear my
Yeah,
question?
that would be
Sir?
great.
Yes.
Yeah. Hold on, everybody.
Yes, we could hear you, Dr. Gandhi. Yeah, we could hear the explanation that you gave. Um, just one question comes to me, and because we have people who don't understand medicine and homeopathy, how does one differentiate between panic that you explained and phobia? Because I would think that this coronavirus, for it, I know that this is the threat. So how does one differentiate between, do I have a phobia or do I have panic, for example?
Okay. Panic is, we use this word panic loosely. But if you use it from a psychiatric perspective, then panic means when it happens without any apparent cause. And without any reason, you don't know why it has happened. Whereas phobia is where you have fear of something, any situation or any object or any event. Like, for example, I have fear of going on the stage. I have stage phobia. Or I have fear of knives because I'm afraid I might just take it and harm somebody. So phobia, or I have fear of dogs. So I'll say I've got fear of dogs, or height phobia, or claustrophobia. So we have many, many phobias. Phobias are of objects, situations, things, events. Whereas panic is something which comes out of the blue. You don't know where it came from, how it came, and it is almost with a sense of impending doom, I die. It's a terrible state. And then after a few seconds, it just goes away, and then you say, what happened? But in that particular moment, there is so much of autonomic discharge, parasympathetic, sympathetic, that you are petrified. Then you develop another thing, fear of the fear. What if I get it again? You get this?
So how do you use homeopathy for what you're talking about, and what do people do? How, I mean, based
Okay.
on, yeah.
So I can just give, because it's people are not only homeopaths. So let me just give idea that what generally how people see this problem. So people just sometimes, that's what we call in our technical term etiology. So anxiety could be genetic. If the family members have anxiety, then children can have anxiety. Some people go into the neurobiology and try to explain in terms of the brain system. Then there are some biological perspectives, and this is very important nowadays because we believe there is hyperactivity of certain systems like noradrenergic system. Sometimes they say the serotonin has gone down, GABA has gone down. So because of this chemical changes, most of the psychiatrists or most of the conventional treatment will try to give you medications which will correct whatever chemical imbalance in the common sense, what we would say. Then there is a cognitive approach. So this is just for people that all what are possible approaches are there. Cognitive approach is where we feel that the problem is because of the thinking. There is some wrong thinking process in the patient, which is resultant of which is the anxiety. Then there is the psychodynamic Freudian approach, where they try to understand the inner conflicts of a person, the id ego, superego, and things like that, his unconscious urges, and try to solve their problem. Then there is a behavioral approach, where they say that all the behavior we learn is through some complex system of reward and punishment. So they use this reward and punishment approaches to help people. So they are called behavioral therapists. Then there are humanistic approach. In humanistic approach, people say that we are anxious because we are not able to be our authentic selves. We cannot be our true selves. We are living a fake life, and that is making us anxious. Then there are some other approaches like socio-cultural approaches, which say that people cannot live in vacuum, like what we are feeling nowadays. Today, this might be very relevant, that people don't live in a vacuum. And this approach looks at the impact of society on our abnormal psychology. Then there is a stress model, which says that there are two parts of the coin. One is that I'm vulnerable, and other side is that there are a lot of stresses caused by the life experiences, and both together cause problems. Now, these are different ways of looking at the same problem. But what is interesting is the homeopathic approach. Homeopathic Homeopaths believe that though we are all humans, we are all in some way different from each other. We are not the same. Each one of us sees life differently based on our inner program. So, one concept which I would like to tell all my dear friends is that there is an inner program which makes us different. What I am, my wife will be very different, Preety will be different, Marilyn will be different, Deepak will be different. That is because we all have our inner program which is very different. And this inner state, whatever we have, that program, if you see it in terms of some energy pattern which is in me, it resonates with some energy pattern with something in this universe. We are not separate from the world. Our inside and outside are one and the same. The outer world is made up of 5 elements, and we also are made up of 5 elements, and we are very much interlinked with each other, and also we are influenced by each other. So, what we do by homeopathy is try to understand the inner pattern of this person, that inner program, that software, and try to see what in this universe has the same pattern. It could be from a mineral, it could be from a plant, it could be from an animal. and treat the person's inner software. So we believe homeopathy is a subjective science. All the sciences which I talked about till now were all objective science, how it is seen from outside. Whereas homeopathy is experiential science, how you experience life, how you see life, how you perceive life. And based on that, we can give something which is in nature, which is a natural thing, which has the same energetic pattern and resonates with our inner state. And when you give that in a very, very gentle, subtle form, we see that the person improves. And this is our experience. So we treat the person's inner software. That is what we believe is where the real problem lies.
Yes, I think this is very well defined in homeopathy by the term individualization, that everyone is very specific and we cannot treat the disease. We treat man as a whole, and we differentiate it from other person, and we are differentiate every person by the disease and by the symptoms and by the likings, by the emotions. And even many of the psychiatrists in the modern medicine cannot do that individualization. That is, we are doing very perfectly, and this is actually the beauty of homeopathy. That's why we are unique. Homeopathy is unique. So this
And
is really wonderful.
Deepak, I would like to add
Yes.
my personal way of looking. Now, we can individualize a person with various ways. We all need an underpinning, some foundation, some basis on which we individualize. And the one thing which I individualize patients on is to find out how individuated a person is, how much his ego has developed, what is his developmental level, what is his level of personal evolution. And this will help us find out a remedy from or which would be necessary for the patient.
Yes, this is really a perfect answer, sir, and the perfect solution of any type of viral, like even the COVID or the dengue or even many viruses. We are treating as a individualized, not by the single medicine, or we have not a fixed plan to treat. We have a every individualization studies and every individualized medicines are there. So, sir, here is a question. I hear that anxiety is a human phenomena. It is true?
Oh, what a wonderful question. You already gave an answer. It is true. Anxiety is a human phenomenon. Now let's talk about animals. Okay. Most animals, in fact, all animals, live in immediate return environment. What do you mean by immediate return environment? Whatever action they take have an immediate impact on their life. It's like the animal is hungry, it will munch on a branch. If it spots a lion, it will run away. So the life of the animals is oriented towards the present moment. Their life is very mechanical and very certain. What they do is very certain, and they live in the present. And their actions have an impact on the immediate impact. Whereas humans, whether you call it fortunately or unfortunately, have delayed return environment. We live in a delayed return environment. What does it mean? Today, I worry about problems about my future. I'll save money today because they'll be of use in future. So we think about what will happen to our children. So we do things from right now. So because we are future oriented and not present oriented like the animals, we are surrounded by uncertainty because future is always uncertain. We don't know how life will go on. And this uncertainty leads to chronic stress and anxiety. So this is a very important question. Another important question is also that individual humans, uh, not like other animals, just see the situation as it is. But we human beings are anxious because we misunderstand ourselves based on our inner program. So, what is the inner program, this software I'm talking about? It is like spectacles. If I have red spectacles, I'll see everything red. If I'll wear something green, I will see everything green. So, how we see the world depends on our own perception, and which is very different for each one of us. I might be very anxious about money, And my wife will say, why are you caring about money? I'm anxious about my children. So for her children are important. I say, why are you worried about children? So we all have. So most of these people who are anxious, their perception of world is that it is a dangerous place, basically. Though there is no obvious objective danger. And then later on, as I said, they develop more and more fear based on. Another thing which is very important thing is most animals don't have choices. We have choices. We have left our animal, though we are also mammals, we have left the animal world and we are moving towards godhood. We believe that man is made in God's own image. But there's always a conflict in us. We have to choose. We have to make a choice. What are we going to do? Are we evolving? Am I growing? Many of the time we are making choices where we are looking for happiness outside. I feel if I'll become very rich, I'll be happy. I feel if I have a very big name, I'll be happy. But we have to learn over trial and error that happiness is not outside, it is in how we see life. So I think this is a real good time because of this lockdown, we have got time. And I think one of the important things which we all need to do is restructure our priorities. We're always thinking, about our work first, then comes our relationship, then comes ourself, and probably our health. Now I think we have to think about ourselves first,
Yes.
then our relationships, and probably work can take us.
Yes,
So what
this
would it, what
lockdown
would it,
changed many things. This
what
is
would
a
it,
wonderful answer. Yes, Mali, please.
no, what would a typical session, like if I was going to come to you, because we have a lot of people listening who have these issues. So if I'm coming to you as you're my psychiatrist and a homeopath,
Yes.
give me an idea of what that would look like. What kinds of questions would you be asking me, and where does it branch off from psychiatry to homeopathy? I mean, is it the kinds of stress or where I'm getting my stress from that makes the difference to you than it would be a regular psychiatrist? How is homeopathy aid you in what you're doing to help me?
So a regular psychiatrist would find out first that what are you suffering from? And he'll take your symptoms and he'll say, okay, you're having anxiety disorder, probably one of those 5, 6 types of anxiety. And he will label you as either panic disorder, generalized anxiety, whatever. And then he will also try, he's of course empathic, he will try to find out what are the stresses in your life, what are you worried about, how you can do. He can help you change your little bit life so that you can adjust better and become less stress free. He can even probably tell you to do meditation, go for yoga classes. Maybe he will also send you to some counselor who will tell you how to not look at it. But most of these methods are little external. If you or anybody would come to me for anxiety, what I would be going into is your subjective experience, how you see life. What is your perception of what makes you anxious? What are your dreams? And then address your this default program, which makes you see life differently. So I make you strong. So anxiety, what we do is try to build the person's own resources. So when your own constitution becomes strong, you can deal with anxiety. We know already there are many people who can deal with anxiety. But when somebody cannot, it means there is something wrong which needs to be corrected inside. And we have to reframe the way of perception of things, or at least make it easy if you can't change it. So if somebody is very anxious about her children, that something could go wrong with her children, she's not bothered if she dies. But what about my children? So it comes from too much of attachment, too much of possessiveness. And I can give some remedy which can loosen up this, make her more easy about it, and become more realistic. Because we all, basically, fear means irrational. We are afraid of a cockroach. What is the cockroach going to do to us? Or a spider? You see, most of the time, what we are afraid of is completely irrational. So we have to make them more realistic. And these homeopathic medicines have this magic to make them see things and also act according to what is reality.
And then once you do that, it's a lot easier to talk.
It's easy because very often patients say, but we didn't do anything. How come we became relaxed?
Yeah, I was wondering where the intersection was. That's brilliant. I don't know if how many psychiatrists and homeopaths there are in the United States, for instance, or anywhere. Are you unique? Are you do you I mean, or are there many psychiatrists, uh, homeopath combinations in other parts of the world? Are you just
There are
trained?
very few, but, but but I'm training many people all over the world. I'm giving lectures, and now we have this fellowship program which Preeti talked about. Every year, the universities are giving me 50 students to train them in homeopathic psychiatry, and they get a recognized degree by our government. And I think this is what I want to do to make our homeopaths good in psychiatry. Hmm? Very often we are all afraid. As soon as we use the word psychiatry, we want to run. We're a little scared of.
Wonderful, sir. This is really great to know that you are working for homeopathy for the human beings, and you are training the homeopaths and also recognized by the university. This is really wonderful to know. And Preeti, do you have any question?
If everybody allows, let's talk a little. I'm going to take you a little bit away from homeopathy and talk about this COVID-19. I want to know, Dr. Gandhi, your views. Some say COVID-19 has resulted from destruction of nature. Do you feel the
Oh my
same?
God. See, as I just now told, that nature is not only outside our skin, it is also inside. I told you that we are made up of these five elements, and we are constantly influenced and interacting with the inside is interacting with the outside. Now, the outside nature is all the time changing. You know, from morning to evening, the nature changes. Every year, every season, it changes. And according to that change, according to these changes of nature, also our inside changes from hour to hour, season to season, year to year. So we must take care of nature because we are not exclusive. We are not apart from nature. Nature has the ultimate power. It it has the power to create and maintain our inner nature. In homeopathy, what we give is the power of nature, something from nature which we give in the potentized form to heal ourselves. So this nature can create and maintain our inner nature. It can protect and heal us. So we definitely need to eat healthy. Our lifestyles must be tuned to the rhythm of nature. Probably problem has what has happened is, Preeti, that we have modified nature to suit us. All our lives in the ancient times, we tried to modify ourselves to suit to nature. But in the recent times, we are modifying nature. We have distorted nature to suit us. And then the rebound phenomenon is going to happen. What is happening today is, in a way, recreating how things should be. And now we have started working on it. We are now bothered about what it is, how things are. So nature and we are, the problem is we always think we are separate from nature. We don't see that we are part and parcel of nature. Another thing I would like to tell you by myself is that, see, we forget one thing. We are all outwardly directed. We are all thinking of making money, making name, making progress in this materialistic world. We are only thinking about this. But just like we have an objective world, we have a subjective world, and we are neglecting the subjective world. We have to make two journeys. One is the outer journey. We have to create. We have come here with a lot of gifts in our life, and we have to actualize those gifts. If I have an artist, I have to do something and make it out of it. If I have some healing thing, I have to come out and do that. And we have to manifest ourselves outside, but we also have to make an inward journey. We have to get connected with ourselves. When I talked to you about the humanistic approach, I said we are not connected to ourselves. We are not authentic selves. We are spiritual human beings. There is something inside us which is a part of the spirit. And we have to actualize it. We have to go inside. We have to work with our conflicts. We are all neglecting ourselves. We are become machines. And unless we do both the journeys, We are not complete human beings. Most of our external things we're going to leave, but what will go with us is our inner things. So I think this time which we have got in this lockdown is a time of introspection to look within. Problem is that we are all afraid of ourselves. We want to drown ourselves in the crowd, on the television. We want to forget ourselves, maybe alcohol, because we cannot see ourselves. There is a spiritual vacuum. And I think this is the time we should have the strength and courage to face ourselves and make friends there with ourselves.
That was
Yes,
wonderful.
I
Go
think
ahead.
I think this is the time to
Yes.
need refining process of the human beings. That is the actual time. So
Yeah.
we can do the our refining process. We are not um, there have the fast food work. We are not having any competitions. We are at the home and we are on the relaxed mode. Nature is going to be relaxed, then this is our duty also to going in the relaxing mode.
Yes.
So this is really wonderful, sir.
Can I ask you all a question really quick? Because I know we want to talk about Debbie too, but I want to ask you all just a really quick question. When you speak about getting back into nature and being part of nature, is I know that based on what I know, and it's can be limited, that a lot of the remedies are nature. They're part of nature.
Yes.
And is that part of getting back to nature and why homeopathy is so important? Because so many of the remedies are the energy of nature.
Homeopathy, when you give the right remedy, I can give you an example. Let's say there is a pond of water, and then you have a coin below, and the water is turbulent or moving. You cannot see anything down. But when the water becomes still, you can look at that coin. It doesn't only, you only not only see it, but you also it becomes a little bigger and you feel it's little up. So we have our inner disturbances in our vital force. And when we give the right remedy, which is from nature, that's what I'm saying, nature heals. And when we give something from nature, all those disturbances settle down and we come to terms with our true selves.
Mhm.
We get connected. So homeopathy helps in this inward journey too. That is why some patient might come with migraine or some other stiffness in his joints or whatever might be his problem. But when we treat them, everybody, when they heal, they come and say, but I'm also having a sense of well-being.
Right.
This aspect of health is what we neglect.
Mhm.
And most important is our treatment should bring about a sense of well-being, the inner peace, which homeopathy does.
Perfect. All right, this was great. So now I can't thank you enough. I'm going to ask you to come back again. I hope you'll come back and talk with us some more, and we'll get into some more of this too. So Deepak, do you want to start the next piece?
Hello.
Deepak, you there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So,
I am here.
yeah. So do you want to? This is a perfect time for us to segue into talking about Debbie's son
Yes.
and whoever is on the chat that might have known Debbie and wants to send us some messages. Deepak, what do you think?
Yes. Uh, I think what we are remembering, because I know Debbie since 2008. We are connected through the Facebook and the messengers, and we planned this health in show in 2011. And the first lecture was mine on the dream of a snake. That was the wonderful show, and at that time I was the anxious when I am not completing my show very well, because I am doing first time of that show. But on that day, Debbie relaxed me, and she told me that you should do these and these things, and she learned me a lot about the online shows. This was a memory when I cannot forget. Amnon was there, and Debbie just doing the relax to me, because I was very anxious to do this type of show, because what I am doing, there is a PowerPoint and I am not looking properly on the cameras. I am not talking properly, but she gives me a strength to speak. She always advised, and this was the perfect memory. And we have many memories, but this is really a responsibility of us to take. This shows in the mainstreams, and always we are always be there to remember Debbie, and Debbie is in our heart, because when she died on the day or 2 days before, Dr. Kavita Kuknur see me on the video that Debbie was looking horrible, and she cannot hear, she cannot speak. That was the moment that I cannot stop the tear from my eyes. And this is the last scene when I see Debbie, and I cannot fulfill the dream to visit her India, because she loves India. She want to visit India. She want to uh, take take the seat with every homeopath. She want to talk the homeopaths in India, how they work. But the dream was not going to true, and I am also not getting the visa for the US in 2010. And this visa, I already planned to meet the Debbie in 2010, but unfortunately I do not get visa. So we never met, but we are in the heart in each other. And I love so much, and I missed even from my original mother. My original mother is also not there, but I miss more than my original mother to Debbie. And I am here is just because of the Debbie, because she was the person who take me the lectures and guide me to how to take the online sessions. And since then, we regularly do on every Monday we are doing the show from 2011 to 2014, I think. And then we just declined. But yes, Marilyn, thank you so much that you, Dr. Kavita Kokno, Dr. Preety, Ota, Dr. Rajneesh, Dr. Hira is also being a part of Homeopathic World Community, and we are helping to grow Homeopathic World Community, and uh, doing just for Devi, and she was great.
Yeah, she was all that and more. I could say a million things about her, but every time I do, I just start to cry. So, Amnon, you there? Did you want to say anything about Debbie?
I can't even start. I mean, Debbie was Debbie. That's all there is to say. She was one of a kind.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Yes,
we would
that's why.
our shows would cross sometimes on Mondays, because I do a show at 1, and I think your show was before that or something. And very often I would be coming into the studio and Debbie would be leaving, and she would always have a remedy for me for something. Even if I didn't know that I needed a remedy, she would always have something for me for whatever reason. And I've often said she knew more about me than I knew about myself. So she was loved completely. Deepak, what were you going to say?
Yes, Debbie was the person who is connected with more than 3,000 homeopaths worldwide. And I remember then she replied very quickly for each person, even it was a homeopath or the general people. So she's so quick. She designed the whole community to connect each another, and she always emailed me that you should take care of the all messages and should reply to the best message. And I remember that in 2010, the internet is not working properly in India, and the electricity of already not the perfect. So when we are doing my internet is not going to be perfect, but she always cares me. She always said that do not worry, Deepak, do not be in hurry, just cool down. This is happen in all over the world. You have the internet, but many countries is not having the internet. So she is so caring, and I have no words. I miss her more than from my original mother, and I always call Debbie Momaji. This is the term, and I missed, and I always write till now. When I use Debbie, I use Debbie Ji or Debbie Momaji for each and everyone. This is, and I really miss you, Debbie.
Yeah. So on Saturday, I know that we're doing a coffee, uh, like a coffee contact that everybody and anybody that wants to join it can. Uh, and we'll have more opportunities for each person who wants to say something about Debbie and just to chat about whatever you want to chat about. It's like an open conversation. So, Preety, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I was just wanting to say that when hearing all of you talk about Debbie, it feels that I really missed out on a lot of things, a lot of love and a lot of affection. I was introduced to HWC by Kavita, and I know that Kavita was a dear friend of Debbie too, and she spoke so highly about Debbie as well. So I'm so grateful that all of you beautiful souls are carrying her work along, and you're all a living embodiment of what Debbie really represented. All of you. So
Right.
wonderful.
Well, she brought you to the Debbie's instrumental in bringing you to HWC for sure. So, and I'm sure she would have loved you, and she loves you. So with that, this has been a wonderful show. Dr. Gandhi, thank you so much for being here. It has been an honor to listen to you and to understand what you do and the possibilities that are out there, and to, love to have you come back again and continue the conversation. And, so we can keep spreading this idea, because the more we talk about it, the more people will know about it. And it's very important. So, Preety, do you have anything else in closing, or?
No, so thank you so much, Dr. Gandhi. He's such a busy practitioner and such a beloved speaker. So thank you so much, sir, for coming in and sharing your insights. It is amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And you have wonderful students. They love you. I've been talking to they're lovely. Maybe sometime we'll have to have some of them come too. So love to meet them. Absolutely. And Deepak, you got anything else?
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And when I will visit to Bombay, I will surely meet you and learn from many things from you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste, sir.
It has been a great pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next month. And be safe and just stay with yourself. Just try to get a little closer to yourself. And with that, goodbye. Thanks, Amnan.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.